I would have just told her, girl, bye. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want nothing to do with you no more. I hope I don't have to see it no more. Bye. Bye. See you later. We done. Keep my name out your mouth moving forward. Like, she just had to be a jerk to the very end. Oh, that was so annoying. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. I had to do that intro about 5 times because I always want to promote my business. For those who don't know, I have a website where I sell cute earrings like these, and it's been down for a few months, but I do plan on coming back, y'all. But just like with these videos, it's been hard for me to find a balance. Anyway, I missed a few episodes, y'all, and I decided just to jump into this one, and anything that I want to throw in there that I missed from the last episodes, I will. So we have Devon Franklin, which they kind of used Devon Franklin to promote this season, and we're like towards the end of it that he's just not being thrown in. Like, I understand Dr. Pia, she was, you know, in the mix a little bit more. I feel like Devon is more so a special guest. That's kind of how they referred to him, but I was really looking forward to seeing him a little bit more during this season and seeing how he interacted with the couples. We really only got to see him interact with Justin and Alexis, but I do you know, I feel like his advice was we're gonna get to it, but I just wanted to see how he was. I thought he was really gonna be an expert though, because they need more experts. I was excited for there to be 4 because Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, clearly they busy. They booked and busy. Okay, we needed somebody to come in there. I would think that with 4 experts, they would be able to at least see them every other episode. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, y'all. I have a new setup, and I feel like I'm supposed to be looking here. I know I'm supposed to be looking here, but I keep wanting to look at myself, y'all. I'm not conceited. I just, you know, anyway, but I just think that they should have brought him on full time. Maybe they're testing him out. I don't know. Because, or someone else, like, come on, put on a full staff for us so these people can have some help. I know y'all want the drama, but we also like to hear from the expert. Let's go ahead and talk about Stasha and Nate. So when we first see them, they're meeting up with Pastor Cal, and in the very beginning, I was completely like thrown off and almost like, oh my, clutching my pearls, because Nate asked Pastor Cal, was he a freak? Or he said, ain't you a freak? I was just like, we are not asking Pastor Cal that. I do not answer that, Pastor Cal. I don't know why did you do that? They talk about how he still has not reciprocated the L word. Here goes Pastor Cal. What's stopping you? He said he's felt it, but he stopped because he's scared of getting hurt. Now, Nate, if that's true, then it's kind of like you're validating everything Stasha has been saying. We've been trying to have your back and say Stasha needs to stop badgering you over this L word thing, because you should, like he said, he wants to do it organically. He wants to go with the flow, and you know, he doesn't want to rush anything. And I agree. Like, I would, if I was in that position and I've only known someone for like a month, I wouldn't want to rush that either. But if you feel it and you just won't say it because you don't want to get hurt, that's kind of selfish, Nate. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's putting all her feelings out there. You should be honest with yours. But he said he's scared of getting hurt, and I think that's the reason why he hasn't been in long-term relationships, and we're going to talk more about that later. But if you're just holding back while this other person is giving their all, it's really not fair. And I can see where Stasha is coming from. Maybe I was giving Stasha too hard of a time in my head because I didn't do the reviews talking about it, but I could see where she's coming from now. Pastor Cal asked, could it be stemming from anything in your history? And he's like, no, but I'm like, look, you have mommy issues. Your mom was not in your life. That's why I feel like he definitely needs counseling, because he doesn't even realize that's a huge major thing in his life that could really be holding him back, especially with relationships. You definitely feel a way that your mom was not in your life, the way you broke down in tears. Yeah, you acted like you, I'm not saying you acted like you were crying over your father, but I definitely feel like you not having a mother had a huge impact on you. And I mean, because you were abandoned. You know what I'm saying? She abandoned you. And also your father never really expressed emotion to you, and that was your only parent that was there for you. And so I can imagine that also impacts the way that you express your emotions. The fact that the first time you saw your daddy cry was on this show when y'all was looking at your childhood home, like that has to have stunted your emotional maturity in some way. And the reason why you have walls up and you are closed off, even though you married a stranger, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's something you should delve deeper into. I don't even think he realizes that's something that he should, you know. Both of them have, you know, abandonment issues from their father, Stasha, and his mother not being there. So I feel like they both should be getting some individual help with that. And then they get to Stasha. She admitted that she has cheated in relationships, and it was 10 years ago. And he was disappointed, and now she feels judged and may not want to share in the future because, you know, it happened 10 years ago. Like, what do you, like, why are you holding on to that? But I have to be fair. If we heard Nate say that he's cheated in a relationship, even if it was 10 years ago, that would be a red flag. And you know, we all would feel away. We would all be giving him a side eye like, you cheated in the back. We all would do it, and you know it, because we've been looking for a reason to be mad at Nate. So I have to be real with that. You know, I feel like it's okay to be disappointed, but just don't use that against her, because it has been 10 years and she was in her 20s. She's now in her late 30s. Let it go, please. Nate, just tell them when you love her. If you feel it, quit playing. Tired of you now. Let's move on to Lindy and Miguel. So finally they're done with this ridiculous baby. I feel like because Lindy and Miguel, for whatever reason, they don't have a lot of screen time. I could tell by the notes that I take. My notes for Lindy and Miguel are always much shorter than everyone else's. I don't know if it's because Miguel works a lot or whatever. They just don't have a lot of screen time. And maybe they weren't tackling the real issues, and so it wasn't causing them to have these deeper conversations. I don't know. So they gave them something that would be a drama starter, in my opinion. Because when have they ever given any couple a baby? And even this season, they only gave it to Lindy and Miguel, McGindy. Like, what purpose did that serve? Like, I don't even think they really told them what it was, other than we needed some drama for the show. So they went axe throwing. Miguel was terrible at axe throwing. Lindy is like a savant at axe throwing. Like, she's like amazing at it. A part of me thinks that this ain't Lindy's first time doing that. But anyway, he wasn't a sore loser, which was cute. And then they start talking about their relationship, and here she's so paranoid about something bad happening. Oh, is something bad gonna happen? And it just makes me feel like, you know, you are going to lose your mind at some point. Because why are you so scared of something bad happening? You always bring it up. And in this episode, they kind of made it seem like Miguel was the type to do that, but she does it too. She does it all the time. She always talks about, she's kind of like a negative Nancy, and he brought that up to her too. Like, your go-to is to be negative. And he told her that he could never give her the security of telling her that we're going to be together forever, because he just has a very realistic way of viewing relationships, and some might even say pessimistic. She's like, well, you know, I don't like that point of view, but I accept it. And so he asked her, well, are you willing to be in a loveless marriage? And she was like, yes, if we're, you know, fighting to get to a better place. And he was like, well, I'm not. And that's when them crazy eyes come out. Girl, I feel like the steam was about to ooze out of her ears, child. Anytime he says something she doesn't like, I always get really nervous because my eyes start bucking. I think what Miguel is doing is kind of like protecting himself, because he knows she has the potential to lose it, and he has the potential to be completely turned off by that. Because normally I'd be like, you shouldn't be negative like that in your relationship. But with Lindy, every time they talk about, well, I feel like I've seen the worst of you. And she said with Pastor Cal, no, that was only a 4.5. And if that was a 4.5, Lindy, were you cursing him all the way out like that? If that was only a 4.5 on the scale, I would hate to see it. Like, that would scare the mess out of me, that a 10 could be worse than a 4. I wouldn't want to stick around for that either. I would want to leave a door open too, because girl, don't nobody want to stick around for no 10 if that was a 4. Pastor Cal was like, well, 10s don't happen often. How you gonna feed that to her and tell her that? We don't know how often she has a 10. She brings it up every time we hear them talk about their relationship. So that tells me that she don't mind slipping into a 10 whenever she feel like it. If she was willing to do that on camera, I always say this about the couples. If they're willing to do something on camera, it has to be even worse off camera, because you just can't help but hold back some when you're in front of a camera. all of the worst fights we've ever seen has been from security footage in the kitchen. Okay, that's when we get the real. So I don't know. Even her friend was like, she's quick to anger and she gets defensive and takes things personally, even if they're talking in general. So I don't know. I just like, y'all, she Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, y'all. Like, she's all bubbly. I love you, Miguel. You're so funny. She's cute and bubbly, and then we see the flames coming up behind her. We see the steam coming out of her ears, and we see the horns come out. She going off. So I don't blame Miguel for being, I don't blame him for being hesitant, because I think anyone would in that situation. Let's move on to Justin and Alexis. They are exhausting. Oh my goodness. We're getting into the real exhausting couples, okay? I'll go ahead and get to the notes before I really give my opinion. So he met up with her friend, her guy friend, and Justin's feelings are he sacrificed his dog, and he feels like she doesn't really appreciate the fact that he did that, even though that was really hard for him, and he thinks that she would never have done anything like that for him. She doesn't really reciprocate. And I would have to agree. I doubt that she would have ever given up Newton had the situation been reversed. But I still place more of the blame on Justin in that situation, but I do feel like she is a little bit, I don't feel like she's empathized with him enough, knowing how she would feel in a situation like that. So he did admit to talking to her crazy sometimes, and he has to check himself. And because I'm glad you admitted that, Justin, because we see on the security footage, you are quick to raise your voice, you are quick to curse her out, and that is not something that a husband should do with his wife. That's not what anybody should do in a relationship, period. So I'm glad you admitted that, because that's something I've been wanting to call you out on in these past couple of weeks. He's scared that she's not truly committed to him. I forgot if the friend or if he said this, but the pressure of the situation makes the bad in the situation even worse. Then they met up with Devon Franklin. And a lot of people felt like Devon probably should not be an expert because his marriage didn't work out. I don't think that would make you a bad counselor. You know, you can give a different perspective and, you know, tell what didn't work in your marriage, you know what I'm saying? And probably try to warn people from doing that. And I feel like that, in a way, that's what he did with this couple. So here we go with the club conversation. She views the club as a stress reliever, and she feels free when she's at the club. I feel like a lot of y'all are going to disagree with me on this, but this is how I feel. I'm kind of old school in this way, I guess. I don't think you should be going to the club every weekend. I don't. I feel like you can hang out with your friends and not go to the club. I think as a married woman, I think it would make anybody insecure if you are at the club every weekend with your friends. Like, why are you still, you know, that's an activity that's more so single people do. This same issue was on Love is Blind, and it's what broke Ayanna and Jared up. The fact that he was constantly going out, hanging out with his friends, because that's not something married people should do, especially if one of the married people is a homebody and stays at home and doesn't like to go out. And, you know what I'm saying? It just, when y'all don't match in that way, it's always going to tear the relationship up. But I just feel like you could do other things with your if being with your friends is what it's really about. There are other activities that you could do, even some of the ones that she named: hiking, four-wheeling. You know, you could do adventurous things with your friends. You could, you know, to get that adrenaline rush, to feel free. There's so many other things you could do than just going to the club. And I feel like feeling free is a cop-out. I really do. Y'all probably not gonna agree with me on that, but that's how I feel. So she says she feels smothered in the marriage, and then she's shocked when he feels hurt by that. Like, wow. If somebody told me they felt smothered in a relationship with me, I would say, well, go be free. If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Go ahead and free yourself, okay? Of course he's going to be offended by that. But then again, Justin, I do feel like, in a way, the way that you express your feelings on topics like these probably can be a little smothering, right? You should say it in a way like, I don't want to keep you from your friends, but I just feel uncomfortable with you going to the club. She also said that she wants to be active, and he sounds like someone that's a homebody, but I feel like if she wants to do those type of activities, then he'll be willing to do them with you, because you know he was willing to do them on the honeymoon. So I do think he would be willing to do those things with him. He just don't want to go to the club, and everybody don't like going to the club. That's when Devon Franklin said that Justin is being controlling because he doesn't want her to go to the club. And mind you, I've said my piece on Justin. I feel like he's emotionally stunted. I feel like he's very immature. I feel like he starts a lot of these arguments because he just keeps nagging and nagging and nagging and nagging. But in this situation, I feel like she's wrong. I just do. And I didn't agree with Devon's assessment that he was being controlling because he didn't want her to go to the club. Like, I did not agree with that. I could see if we had like a pattern of him trying to like control where she went and who with who, and you know, I could see that, but he just don't want her to go to the club. I feel like if the tables were turned, I don't feel like he would be saying that she was controlling. I just don't. I feel like because he's a man and she's a woman, that's why they feel that way. And then they had the intimacy conversation. They haven't had intimacy because he lacks the confidence and he's intimidated, period. That's what I got from it. She wants someone to dominate, and he wants the feelings to be reciprocated before he dominates. So he wants to feel wanted as well. And I feel like they just glossed over that, you know, for the most part. Everything was on Justin and criticizing him for what he does. But are you showing him that you want it? Like, I wouldn't want to like dominate somebody that's like not really interested. So I saw where he was coming from with that. But I could also see Justin like talking a big game and then falling flat. So I think both of them got something to work on in that area. But I don't know. I just feel like they could have questioned Alexis a little bit more. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I feel like Alexis checked out a long time ago. And I ain't gonna lie, I probably would have checked out with Justin too. The way he acts is a little bit... Child, especially in the beginning with him crying all the time, I would have been over that as well. But I just feel like at this point, she's performing, and she's putting on a good show for us. But I feel like she knows for a fact she doesn't want to be with Justin, but she's not gonna leave him or leave the show because she likes the attention. Period. I could tell by how she acts on After Party. She loves to say a lot of things for shock value and then look around like, is this gonna make the cut? Is this gonna make the edit? Like, both are a fail for me. Neither one was ready to get married, and that's that. Ben and Morgan, thank you. Finally, this is the end to your story. I was so tired of seeing Morgan stomp all over Ben every single episode. Why are you still there? Thankfully, they finally came to the conclusion that they should not be together. Finally, thank you so much. I thank you. Thank you for not continuing to punish Ben, because that's clearly what you've been doing. But also, I want to say to Ben, you need to stand up. Stand up, okay? Nobody should be walking all over you like that. I don't care if you are wrong. The way she talked to you was crazy, and you never once stood up for yourself. You always rolled over and just let her hit you with the bus every single time with open arms. There are several things that you could have said about Morgan as well, but you sat there and you just took every single bullet, and I just wanted you to stand up for yourself one time. Other people was trying to stand up for you. When Morgan walked in Nate's house, he stood up for you more than you stood up for yourself ever on this show. You're going to have to learn how to get a backbone. And you have already told us why you are the way you are. We're going to get more into that later. Because he does feel like a failure because this relationship didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be. So you could just let that part go. If your family is judging you about it, I feel like personally, well, we'll get to it because I'm jumping to the end. So in the very beginning, we have Morgan showing us her nurse's license. Girl, we get it. You're a nurse. We get it. You've been crying about that since day one. We get it. Yes, Ben was wrong for running around saying you weren't a real nurse. He was dead wrong for that. Okay? And we have said that from the beginning. But you beating this dead horse, like, girl, we know. Golly, like, I just couldn't believe she just kept on going with that. Like her doing, like, you're like solidifying yourself as being a bully at this point, because it was, oh gosh, that was so unnecessary. So they sat with Dr. Pepper. She told Ben that he was wrong for jumping to conclusions, and you know, since then he's apologized multiple times. Like, he's always been apologetic when confronted with this, and I believe it. I believe that, like, you could tell by the look on his face that he's apologetic about it. The thing about it, y'all, I would hate for my partner to go around telling my business, especially if it wasn't true. So I felt where she was coming from at first. I had her back in the beginning. But this is also a show that encourages the couples to talk about their relationships with one another, because there's no one else in the world that can understand what you're going through right now except for these people, because that's what y'all all did it at once. So, and the experts literally encourage it. So y'all did y'all honeymoon together. Like, it's encouraged to discuss your relationship. Y'all literally do it every time y'all gather together. So for you to be so mad, unless there's something that we're missing, unless there's something that happened behind the scenes that we don't know about, I just don't understand why you felt the need to dig that knife in and twist it every single week when y'all got together and was reading those letters to your younger self, and Ben read his and you refused to read yours. Why did you even show up? So you can get your little weekly stipend? Like, why when he tried to apologize to you? Because that's something she also said to Dr. Pepper. Like, I feel like he hasn't given me a sincere apology yet. When he tried to apologize and he tried to make up for what he's done, you threw the flowers on the ground. You loud talk this man every chance you get. Anytime he's talking, you over talk him. He doesn't have a chance. You don't give him that opportunity. And Morgan, what I really feel is, I feel like you're not over your dad abandoning you, period. You gave him a chance to be in your life and he messed it up, and I feel like you're still upset about it. I feel like deep down inside you're angry, and you're taking a lot of that anger out on Ben, and it's undeserved. Because Ben did something wrong, but he's apologetic about it. And ever since then, you haven't given him a chance to move forward. You didn't want to move forward with him. I feel like this was an excuse to, one, leave him because you didn't want to be with him, and two, to take out your anger on him. You never actually gave this man a chance to move forward and try to make this thing work. In fact, you said you wanted to basically punish him for the rest of the time y'all was together. And that's unfair. If you didn't want to be with the man, you should have left him right then and there if you knew that. If you knew that you was not going to give him a chance. Ben says that his family unintentionally taught him how to be a robot, and he said that he could never truly express his feelings, and he constantly internalized them. So he constantly runs away from his emotions and situations that requires that from him. And what's crazy is I didn't even realize that I could relate so much to what Ben was saying. You do feel like you have to be a robot around your family and like do what they say, or you feel like, you know, they're going to disown you or they're not going to love you anymore. But it's crazy. I've done that, and the people that don't follow the rules, they're loved just as much. So why do I feel that way? I don't know. That's something I got to work on. This is not about me. Let's get back to Ben. Overall, Ben was not ready to be married either. We have to be honest about that. Like, even though I do feel like Morgan didn't give him a fair chance, Ben also wasn't ready to get married. For you to let somebody walk all over you like that and you get steamrolled every time, you're not ready to be in a relationship, because that's not cool for somebody to treat you like that. And for you to accept that sort of treatment says a lot. So finally they decided to separate. Oh my God, thank you so much. This was their decision day. I'm like, praise the Lord, hallelujah, thank you Jesus. They did not need to be together. Period. I'm so happy. It's finally over. Finally. We got a few more that need to take that same route. We'll be good. Thank you so much for putting us and Ben out of our misery, okay? I honestly wish Ben... Y'all, one of my lights went out. I'm so sorry. It kind of overheated, I think. But I feel like he should not have to bear the full responsibility of why this didn't work. But he is. He's really down on himself. And I feel like, Morgan, why do you feel like nothing you do is wrong? Why do you feel like you are perfect? Like, yeah, you said, I feel like I wasn't a safe space for him. How about how you always have a negative attitude, like, when it comes to him? Every single time. Like, he comes into the situation apologetic, trying to move forward, and you're always negative. Like, you need to look at yourself as well, because how can you be in a relationship if you're never wrong? You're always right. He said he plans on maybe getting out of California, and I think that's a good idea. Get away from your family and, like, get to know who you are as a person, so that when you do come back around them and when you do see them again, you can stand up in who you are. Because I feel like that's another reason why he couldn't stand up to Morgan. He doesn't know who he is as a person. Like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I feel like he didn't have anything to stand on. That's why he couldn't do it. They met up later on because they saw the other couples to let them know that they had broken up. And, you know, pretty much she just twisted the knife deeper. Oh, we could never be friends because I don't trust him. Girl, bye. I would have just told her, girl, bye. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want nothing to do with you no more. I hope I don't have to see it no more. Bye. Bye. See you later. We done. Keep my name out your mouth moving forward. Like, she just had to be a jerk to the very end. Oh, that was so annoying. So let's move on. Ooh, child, another one that they need to hang it up flat screen. Here go Kristen and Mitch. Kristen sat down with Mitch's sister-in-law. I knew something had went on between that sister-in-law and Mitch since the wedding, because she was like, yeah, he could be real stubborn and he could be real nasty. She said that at the wedding to Kristen before the honeymoon. And I've been wanting to know what actually happened. So basically, I feel like because, you know, Mitch is this environmentalist, he wants everybody to do things exactly the way that he would do them. He wanted her to use cloth diapers, like reusable diapers. Child. And so what it feels like is they had a huge blow up about it, because he's so passionate but oversteps his boundaries when it comes to that. And so she wasn't having it in her house. That's what it felt like. Like y'all, all of this is alleged because I'm just filling in the blanks, but that's what it felt like. Like he was trying to come in her house and tell her what to do with her kids and her household, and she wasn't having it. Okay. And she said it's really not even what he's saying, it's the way he presents it. And I've been saying that I don't like his tone. I don't like the way he's condescending about it. She did say she ended up compromising with him, but she just didn't give up the diapers. And Kristen said on After Party, when she brought up diapers, it made her think, like, when we have kids, we're not gonna be able to use diapers. Like, Kristen, that's something you need to think about, child, before you start thinking about having a baby with Mitch. Okay. And she even was like, well, what about like my feminine products? Like, is he going to expect that from me? And basically she said that he said, you know, he's not going to tell you what to do when it comes to that, but basically alluding to, you know, he would like for her to do that. I'm like, boy, if you don't mind your business, this is not the 1800s. Okay. Now you can use the Diva Cup, because in my mind I was thinking about what my grandma told me, which they used to do when she was younger. You can do a Diva Cup, but everybody's not comfortable with using it. I feel like you have to do what you're comfortable with when it comes to that, because it's already hard going through that every month. I don't need your mouth on it, period. But she did ask him. Anyway, let's get back to the conversation between the sister-in-law. Basically, he needs to learn that you can't shame people into being more conscious about the environment. You have to present it in a way that people would be receptive to. And I totally agree. And she also told her, don't hold back on what you need to say. Just say it. He might not like it. Y'all might argue, but just say what you need to say. Because I'm sure she said what she needed to say to Mitch plenty of times. So then they sit down with Dr. Pepper. She feels like his feelings are overbearing on the things that she likes to do. From iced lattes to the fact that she wants to flip houses, he gives her a hard time on those things. You want for someone to go from, you know, living their life a certain way and completely change it overnight. That's not going to happen. And also, people are going to be defensive when you present it in a certain way. And he asked her, like, are you going to be able to handle me constantly reminding you of these things? Because that's not going to change about him. That's who he is as a person. And I thought that was a decent question for him to ask, because truly, this is not going to change. And she said, I don't know. And I'm like, as soon as you say, I don't know, that's when you need to leave. Because I do. You should leave. You know what I'm saying? You should leave. You should get out of there, because you're not going to be able to take that if you having problems now. And they ain't going to get better. So then he asked, what would it take for her to say yes on decision day? And she said, just be committed to trying to let down walls in order to fall in love. Then they have a conversation afterwards, and he slurped, child, the way he was slurping so loud. If that was my child, I would pop him in the back of the head. So, what you slurping that stuff for? No table manners whatsoever, and elbows all on the table. Like, that would have made me lose my appetite. But anyway, they start talking about, their session, and he said he's been lax about his environmental needs in their temporary home, but he's going to amp it up basically whenever they move into their home that they're going to stay in together after the show. And she was like, really? Well, what's something you have an issue with? And basically he said paper towels. He would like for her to use like real towels. And I'm thinking about it. I thought about it. If I had to really give up paper towels, I think I probably overdo it. That's probably why I would agree to it, because I know I overdo using paper towels. And then we have Mitch meeting up with her sister, and this was the catalyst to a huge argument later. Mitch never takes the opportunity to get to know Kristen better, ever. He never gives her real compliments. Sometimes we want to be complimented on our physical, you know what I'm saying? He always talks about how strong she is and how resilient and all this other, mess. Oh, she puts up with me. That is not a compliment. When Kristen goes above and beyond to try to get to know him, she really puts in way more effort than Mitch even. Mitch is all about Mitch and what Mitch wants to do in the environment and his interests, but he never actually concerns himself on anything that Kristen is concerned with unless it bothers him. When the sister said he had narcissistic tendencies, she was right on the money with that. Basically, he asked the sister how he could get Kristen to stop wearing so much makeup, because he prefers her at a natural state, not straight hair, the little, he likes her wavy hair, whatever. The sister got him right on together. Makeup is not necessarily for the male gaze. She wears it because she likes to wear it. And you've already made her feel insecure about her looks before in the past, saying you weren't attracted to her. And here you go, saying once again, what you present to me is not enough. I'm not attracted to that. Now, this is not what the sister says. This is what I'm saying. She constantly compromises for you. Constantly. She's willing to change so much for you. And you can't accept the fact that she likes to wear makeup. She don't even wear that much makeup. I know what a full face looks like. Yeah, she might wear a little foundation, a little concealer. But she don't even wear lashes. Like, her makeup could be way more done up. She don't even do full eye makeup. Like, what she wears is very tame. And here you go harping on her looks once again. She didn't tell you to cut your Uncle Phil hairstyle. Okay? You would be real mad if she told you to cut that beard off by how you reacted to the woman that cut your beard on your wedding day. So here you go once again harping on her looks. And it's so disgusting and it's unfair. And I'm so glad the sister got you together. Unbeknownst to him, the sister ran back and told Kristen, and you're an idiot. Of course her sister is going to run back and tell her what you said. Crazy. So she was already upset once they got to the little get-together gathering that they had with the other couples. And what set it off was Alexis, once again, being so messy. You already got in the middle of Ben and Morgan's relationship. Now, I'm not saying Ben and Morgan's relationship would have worked out had she not done what she did, but you were already nasty and messy for what you did with them. And here you go butting into somebody else's relationship, asking this question you knew was going to be a hot topic. You already knew. You can't tell me Alexis didn't know that. I'm so glad that you've gotten past the fact that, that she wears makeup, basically. Just messy for no reason, because it came out of nowhere. And he tried to deny saying that he had a problem with the makeup in the first place. He tried to deny saying it when we have literal footage of you saying that on your wedding day. And other men in that circle claim to have heard you said it. So you said it. Stop trying to lie and act like you didn't. And so she literally confronted him, and she just embarrassed once again on that level that he is willing to put it out there that he's not attracted to her, and hurt that you didn't even say it to me. You said it to my sister. And You're constantly looking for ways to change her instead of getting to know her for who she is and appreciating that. Dr. Pepper was trying to smooth things over and speak for Mitch and say, well, I don't think he's not attracted to you. And he kind of put his foot in his mouth when she was like, you're very, very attracted to her, right? And he's like, I don't know about all that. And it's like, he was like, well, you know, Dr. Pepper set him up. But it's like, why can't you say that about your wife? You know what I'm saying? Like, you might as well lead a relationship if you don't feel that way. And so I'm so glad that Kristen was not accepting what Dr. Pepper was trying to do to like smooth everything over. And she shut her all the way down and saying like, you know, being attracted enough to me isn't enough. You know what I'm saying? You getting there with me in this relationship isn't enough. I deserve someone who's going to put me on a pedestal. I deserve for you to think that I'm the prettiest woman in the world, because that's how you should feel about your partner. You should be that attracted to them. And I shouldn't be getting nothing less. She said she's done and she's looking for an apology. I thought she was the done. I felt it for her because she was so emotional, because I know she was embarrassed. I know that hurt her feelings because she really thought they were past that point. And here go Mitch. You ain't no 10. There are plenty of things that you could do to improve your look that she doesn't say about you. And you can't tell me that he the cleanest person in the world looking at that bathtub in your house and she didn't even go. Kristen, you should have went in on him. That's all they told me. When you saw that nasty house, you should have held your nose. You nasty. Like, you should have did all of that. You should never hold back on Mitch. He don't deserve any sort of sympathy. He don't deserve any sort of sugarcoating whatsoever. I ain't gonna lie. Even though they was messy, Justin and Alexis in their confessional, they were talking about what Mitch likes, and they said he want a hippie with dirty feet. And low key, were they wrong? Anyway, Mitch really sitting up there acting like he's blindsided and he's not trying to change her. And it's like, either you are being extremely manipulative or you have no self-awareness whatsoever. And I really do feel like he's not self-aware, because on the after party, when he looks back on some of the things that he's done and said, he does cringe. And I do believe to a certain degree he knows he's wrong. But I just feel like in these moments, he really does feel like he's being blindsided. And it's like, you did not need to be married if you cannot see from someone else's perspective, if you can only see from yours. Stop giving him brownie points just because he's doing better. You 40 years old, you should be doing better. We ain't talking to no teenager. Like, we talking to a 40-year-old man. And honestly, I feel like Mitch is set in his ways. And whoever he gets with next, because I don't think this is going to work out, whoever he gets with next, he'll probably find a young little hippie girl that's into whatever he's into and just run her life. That's the only way I can see him being in a relationship. Period. So, y'all tell me what y'all think down below. I would love to hear your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.